like the content we bring you about the heavy metal world, please like, subscribe, and comment to help us grow the channel.
Here we are. How you doing, man? Bryce, right?
Good, Bryce. And you're Don?
Yeah, Don Van Stavern.
Just making sure. Is it Riot 5 or Riot V?
Yeah, I know. That's one of those questions, people are like, what do you call now? Well, we're actually the band Riot. But when we decided to keep going after Mark's passing, when I wrote all these, I kept the band going. Mike didn't want to do it at first, but I was on Thunder Steel and all that, so I was like, I got to keep it going, in that vein. So when we decided to do it, I said, well, let's not do it like a lot of bands do. Some bands, it seems like they're trying to cash in or using the name disrespectfully. I said, no, I was on the Born in America lineup, when Kip left, I played with Rhett and Sandy, but I'm like, still my era, my first recording was Thunder Still. So we're going to do that forward. So basically what happened was I said, let's add something to the name, to make it a little bit different. And we had, we were kicking, Bobby Jarzombek was still in the band and he had a couple names. And then I said, how about the fifth chapter? So it was actually Riot, the fifth chapter. And we had a Roman numeral V for 5. And everybody says V. So Riot V. It's like, no, it's in the Roman numeral 5.
Well,
so it's technically 5.
So. Yeah, I thought so. I wanted to be sure before I made an ass of myself or something. So
V stands for Riot Van Stavern. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it was I just thought, it's the legacy. And then so we put it on there and it's the fifth singer. So I said, Guy, Rhett, Tony Moore, Mike DeMeo, and now Todd Michael Hall. So the fifth chapter moving forward, and kind of in the Thunder Still vein. So that's what it is. It's a 5.
Awesome. So I saw Riot in 1980 when they were on the tour with, they played in Oregon. I'm in Vancouver, Washington, which is just across the river from Portland, Oregon.
Right on.
I saw Riot in 1980 with Molly Hatchet. Black Sabbath on the Heaven and Hell tour with the first album with Dio. And at the time,
I remember the Black and Blue.
Blue Oyster Cult was the biggest band on the ticket for Cultosaurus Erectus. And great show. But I have not had a chance to see you guys since. I'm hoping you do a U.S. tour at some point here. So.
Yeah, Riot has a lot of history. I was even a fan and saw some of those shows before I joined. I joined in the latter part of '84. I helped Mark write 4 songs in Born in America because me and Dave McLean, who's in Machine Head and Sacred Dyke now, is the drummer of Narita. He was with me in the Texas Slayer. I was in the Texas Slayer when I was a kid. And anyway, so we started working with him, but I went and saw him I saw him with Rainbow. Black and Blue tour and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And even before I joined Riot, I was friends with Mark Reale for 10 years. I lived in New York City with him. He lived with me. And I would just, I teched for him a couple times. And then, we started writing music together. And, in 1984, after Born in America, they just, kind of went on a hiatus. And then when they came back, Kip didn't want to do it. So, Mark says, well, I've been working with you. You're my friend. You want to play bass? And I said, sure. So, I got together with them and we played our first shows in, I think, 86. We did a West Coast tour with me, Rhett, Sandy, and Mark. And we recorded demos and stuff that ended up on Thunder Still. Like there's versions of Sign of the Crimson Storm and Fight or Fall with Rhett Forster singing it, which is strange. But anyway, that's kind of where I went back to that, in that era and stuff like that. So, moving forward with it, it's just so many styles and so many lineup changes. Riot is known for a million lineup changes and different styles of music and stuff like that. So we're trying to do it, in the most respectful way and move forward with good music. Mark used to say the longevity of a band is through good music. So if you keep releasing good music, people will dig it. And if you start releasing bombs, they'll be like, the music's not that good. But
exactly.
I've known him for so long. I've been a big fan, and for me to be able to play with the Born in America lineup and then go on and play with the Thunder Still lineup, it was great. I knew Guy Speranza and all that stuff too. So, it's always been, one of my favorite bands, growing up. So I'm proud that we continue on and marking the legacy's honor and stuff like that. But we're gonna get out and play. I mean, we did play. We've done some U.S. states. We're gonna do a little more because obviously we're a lot bigger in Europe. We play the biggest festivals in Europe and big tours in Europe. So, America, we're going to do, they're already starting to book stuff. They're doing a West Coast thing. So, hopefully we'll get up there and get, we're doing like all of the whole West Coast, like San Francisco, and, we're going to do LA again, and we're going to even go up there. So, hopefully we're up there. Just keep your eyes out,
Yeah, I'd love to see you up here. So the band has a brand new album coming out, Mean Streets, and it's coming out in April. And can you talk just a little bit about how the album came together and what it represents to the band?
Yeah, this is kind of a milestone for Riot, so to speak. This is the third record with the same lineup, which is a pretty good feat for Riot. We've had Frankie, Nick, Mike, and Tom Michael Hall and myself since Unleash the Fire, when we continued on after Immortal Soul. Then we did Armor of Light for Nuclear Blast. And then so Mean Streets is coming out, our third one. And so we're very proud that the reason why we're doing it is, like I said, people are accepting us in what we're doing. And we were on Steamhammer, then we went over to Nuclear Blast. Now Nuclear Blast has an offshoot label, Atomic Fire, which has got Marcus and all the family, and then Raining Phoenix is a part of it now. So it's really cool that we're able to release a third record and it just didn't die. Because when we started to continue on after Mark's passing, it's not an easy thing to do. After Immortal Soul, we got the Thunderstill lineup back together. It was me and Bobby Jarzambek, Tony Moore, and so when we did that, we were full head of steam with the Thunderstill lineup. And then when Mark passed away, we were like, that's it. But when we decided to continue, I had to build a new band because Bobby was too busy with Halford and Sebastian and Fate's Warning. So it was like, okay, we found Frank, who was in Virgin Still, and he had played with Riot a little bit. And then Tony Moore couldn't do it anymore. So I found Todd Michael Hall. And then, Mike, decided to come aboard. He didn't really want to do it at first. He was tight with Mark too. So we put it together and we made demos, and then we got picked up. And so we're like, okay, well, we're doing it the right way. And then we told you about the name. So we're moving forward to it. So for us to have a new record, Mean Streets, we're very proud that, there is still labels wanting us and people wanting us to record. And we released the lyric video for High Noon. People liked it. And then we did the rock one, Feel the Fire, just recently, and people liked it. So we're happy, that we're able to do it. And Mean Streets, it just, we write a million songs. It's been a long time since the last record. The lockdown pushed us back. The labels were shut down. We went through 3 producers before we stuck with Bruno Ravel from Danger. He's done 3 Riot records. So we finally got him back. And so we were happy with it. His production turned out great. And we just wanted a well-rounded Riot record. Mike writes his style. He was more in the Mike DeMeo era, and I was more in the power metal Thunderstill era. So, he has his songs and I have my songs. And so, we feel like it's a good variety of music from, a couple eras of the band. And Mean Streets, I wrote that song, the lyrics and the music, and it's just about Riot in New York City at the time. They were born in Brooklyn in 75, got their deal in 77. They played block parties, they played the little places, and then I have a couple lines when I moved up there and joined L'Amour's, Cat Club, all these places we hung out in the Mean Streets. So the label said, that's perfect. It's like where Riot grew up, the Mean Streets of New York. So that's where the title track came from. That's kind of cool.
Awesome.
Anyway, so yeah, I left off on, I think I was talking about, the legacy and the style of writing and stuff like that. Well, Mark taught us a lot. And we try to, I think about Mark and his, his style when I write for Riot. I kind of know what the fans like. I've written a lot of the songs we play live and stuff like that. So basically when I wrote this one, I felt like doing the Hell to the Warriors, like a Thunderstill kind of song, and then Feel the Fire. I went back to my rock roots a little bit because, I just turned 61 and, I raised on Deep Purple and Thin Lizzy and Sabbath. So, but anyway, I wanted a well-rounded record. Mike writes like his DeMeo era, where more it's, rainbowish Yngwie guitar kind of oriented. And I write the Thunder Still hard rock. So when we're continuing, we try to, utilize the eras that we're in, the later one. So Thunder Still is what I mainly did Riot V for, because we got Thunder Still back together for Immortal Soul, and then Mark passed away, but we were still continuing it. So with the new members, we kind of write in that vein, but Mike still writes in his Mike DeMeo era and stuff like that. So we think we're doing the legacy justice, and we're writing, Riot type songs.
Yeah, it works. There's a good variety there. I was going to talk about the new video that you did, "Feel the Fire." I understand. Did you write the song? I know you wrote the lyrics.
Yeah, I wrote everything. Yeah.
When I first heard it, I did catch a Judas Priest Grinder vibe, I have to say, and I don't know if any of that was intentional. But can you talk a little bit about that song, about the video, and working with model Liv Walsh? Is that right?
Yeah. We when I wrote the song, it was just one of the ones I had an idea in my head, because we wanted to change it up a little bit. Like Armor of Light was a real aggressive record, production wise, and the songs. Mm-hmm. And we said, let's try to touch on the roots a little bit. I'm going to write, like an Overdrive or Road Racing, a Johnny's Back. I'm going to go back to my roots and like make it a good variety of Riot. So like I said, I wrote a couple heavier ones, and then I wrote a couple rock ones on the record. And we wanted Feel the Fire to be first, but the label was a little scared. They said, this is way different for Riot. This is more. And I said, well, back in the day we had some rock songs, even though we're power metal now. So when I wrote Feel the Fire, I was kind of like, I want something just real, like I did on Buried Alive. I wrote a song called Buried Alive on Thunder Still. Said I want just a guitar intro heavy. And then when I did it, I said, that sounds kind of grinderish. I said, is that ripping it off, or is that kind of cool? I said, you know what, that's kind of cool. We're in an F sharp, they're in an A. And then I added different chords, Yeah. And so I said, that sounds good. And then Bruno, the producer, let's do a Feel the Fire on the intro. And then so the whole song just started coming out to be a great rock song. The label was like, well, let's start off with High Noon. It's more like Thunder Still, keeping the fans there, so we can surprise them with something new that you're doing, like, Feel the Fire. It's a little off the cuff. And so anyway, so when I wrote it, I had that in mind, but then I wrote a Zeppelin part on the after the solos.
Great riff.
I just said, I just want to do something that's, just a good heavy rock song, so we can say, hey, we still got the past roots in us and stuff. So I did that. And then I wrote the lyrics about, just a passionate relationship of a guy and a woman obsessed with each other. So when we gave it to the producer, Tom Flynn, he was like, well, I'm seeing maybe, Todd and another cute woman in there and blah, 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 blah. And we were kind of skeptical. We're like, well, a bunch of old dudes, you have, what are you going for, cherry pie? And he's like Warrant. And he's like, well, you can't argue with a good looking woman, and the song's great. Right. So we went up to Tinton Falls, New Jersey to shoot it in the big soundstage. Tom Flynn does Lamb of God, Buck Cherry, all sorts of stuff. Great producer. And so he knew Liv Walsh, who was Miss Pennsylvania at one time. And so, we said, okay. He said, we'll just do a lot of lights, a lot of fire, hot babe. Okay, we like hot babes and fire. How could you go wrong? So we met Liv, and she's a beautiful woman, and we thought it looked good. We said, okay, this is a little different for us. And, everybody seems to like it. A lot of people will do it's a little different for Riot, but it's kind of cool. Or, hey, Grinder, Judas Priest wants Grinder back. It's like, okay, I'm a fan of Judas Priest. Okay. I mean, a lot of my stuff is influenced by Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, so anyway, but, we're happy with it. I mean, it came out, and the next release is going to be, we shot a video too with Tom. It's already done, but won't be released till the record, Mean Streets, which is a great one. I wrote that kind of the lyrics, and I told you about the lyrics, but, with Johnny's Back in mind, with our big seal furry character, that, that weird thing that, we don't have the heaviest mascot, but we've been using them for, almost 50 years. So we're going to keep them around. But the video is kind of cool when it comes out, kind of tongue in cheek. You'll dig it. We actually have a character dressed up like the seal. and he's hanging out with us, and we go to a bar and drink, and he's on a motor. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You'll see it.
Is it a seal? I never knew what it was.
It's a seal. Everybody thinks it's an owl or something weird. It's a harp seal. And the reason why they use it in the very beginning on the first album, Rock City, Steve Loeb, who was the producer all the way up until like God Riot's, 13th record or whatever. His brother-in-law was an abstract artist, and it was something to do with the clubbing of seals, that whole thing back in the day. That's why you see the seal with the thing and there's a body behind them. And so they just kept it going with this guy, with the seal. And we were like, he's not Eddie the Head, or he's not Rivet Head, or, those heavy ones. We're like, this is weird. So we've just kept him. And, it's kind of funny. It's tongue in cheek. We're known as the band with the worst album covers, but the best music. So, I mean, we move forward with the cat. But when we started Riot 5, I said, let's do the guy, but let's make him ferocious and not this little dorky seal. So, Unleash the Fire, he's like, warrior. And then on Armor Light, he's a warrior. And now he's a biker. On Main Street, he's a biker. Yeah, so we use him. Fans like it, but he's in the new video.
Well, I think Budgie might have had a worse mascot, but
the bird was, he was like us, so I can relate to it, But the Budgie was, I don't know. I mean, it was cool.
They're a cool band. They were
the same way. Some of the worst album covers, but the best music. Budgie was Burke Shelley. God, man, what a legend.
Yeah, they had some great stuff.
Oh my God, I love Budgie.
I'm about your age, a little bit older, so I relate to all that stuff, And I wanted to say, so recording processes have really changed over the years. The way bands put together albums in the old days, the band would all get together in a studio for several weeks and hash out the whole recording. But can you talk a little bit about how you guys recorded the new album?
Yeah, it's a lot different, like you were saying, with today's technology and stuff, and like how we're doing Zoom. Me and Michael do Zoom, when we're coming up with stuff. I mean, back in the day, obviously when we recorded Thunder Still and those, we were in the studio in New York recording on 2-inch tape, and we'd go into pre-production and the whole nine. And we did that a little. We did that on Mortal Soul, but when Riot 5 started going, Todd lives in Michigan. Frankie's in Jersey. The guys are in New York. I'm in New York some of the time, but I'm in Texas right now. So basically what we do, we all have studios in our house. Todd has a recording studio. I have one, and they all have them. So basically what we do is we, record at our places. Sometimes Frankie will go to a real studio for the drums, and in a couple records, he just did it in his studio. But we record ideas here. I do everything from my studio. When I send the guys my songs, I have a drum machine. I record the drums. I play bass. I'm a guitar player, so I play all the rhythms. I play dual leads for Mike to get a handle on how I want it. And then I'm not a great singer like Todd, but I'll hum the melody. And by the time they get it, they put their magic on it. Like they play their leads. Smoking, Todd's got a great voice, and Frankie does his magic on the drums. So we basically do it like this nowadays. Technology, and we send all the files to Bruno. We have an upload site and all that, so he gets them. But we can still do production and stuff. Mike, we'll get on Zoom. Mike will be, hey, let's do this lick instead of this, and we'll go over it. And we'll say, cut this out, Bruno, yeah. So we'll be on Zoom and stuff like that. So technology, when we can sit here and record, and I can record in my studio. I could talk to you. I can do interviews, talk to Mike and stuff like that. So it's definitely different, instead of recording, in a big studio. So,
right. Well, one of the advantages, I think, is that you're able to make revisions and spend more time on things, to where if you're in the studio and everybody's waiting on you, you get so many takes and so much time for your parts. Whereas this way you can perfect every little thing,
Yeah. And we do that. Even when the final product is done, we'll we'll have the whole album done, and we'll sit there and I'll listen to it. I'll be like, you know what? That's too long. So he'll literally, you can cut and paste nowadays. Yeah. I said, instead of a full 2 course on the beginning, let's do 1, and then let's do 2 at the end. So Bruno will grab it, click, and put it together. So you're able to do that. Or he'll be like, hey, Todd should be doing a 4th harmony. So Todd will go back in and cut a 4th harmony, and then feel the fire, and we're like, perfect. So it's cool. Yeah, you can go back and forth before you get the final product. We're meticulous. We're like, can't hear Frankie's crash cymbal in that part. I mean, so
nice. Do you ever feel like though sometimes it can be a little bit of a trap to where you might tinker a little too much?
Yeah, I mean, we get like that, it's if you just, do like we were saying back in the day when you recorded in the studio, what you got. I mean, you did a million takes, but what you got, that was it. We'd fly out and then they'd get it and do all that stuff to it. But, I mean, sometimes we're like brothers, all of us. We fight. Todd will be like, I don't like this melody, and blah, 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 and Mike, but we're brothers. We fight, but we love each other. Yeah. So, I mean, but yeah, we're like that, and Todd, Todd's real passionate about his delivery. And so I'll go with him. He go, instead of this, Main Street, take me back again. I'll tell him like that. He'll just go, again. I'll say, no, go, again. We go back and forth on little subtleties like that. You know what I mean? So he'll do that. And I write all my own lyrics. So I get with him on it, and I'll say, well, I wrote the lyrics. He's like, can I change this line? I'm like, cool. Mike doesn't write lyrics. So he writes all of the lyrics to Mike's songs and stuff. But, it's just, it's, we get meticulous at times, but, the final product, we still will sit there and listen to it and go, man, we should have done this. It's like, leave it alone. It sounds good enough.
The new album, Mean Streets, everybody needs to get into it and get it when they can. And I know they can pre-order, and I think they get a couple singles right away. So
yeah, right away and stuff like that. And we'll see you on the road. And thank you for your support, man. And shine on as always.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Don.
All right, Bryce. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
All right, bro. Bye-bye.
If you like the content we bring you about the heavy metal world, please like, subscribe, and comment to help us grow the channel.